Hey, check up. Let's play some D. Welcome to episode 61 of Play Some D. As always, your host, Coach D, back with the random assortment of topics. I actually legitimately held off this one for a little while, mainly because of first quarter NFL news. I wanted to see all the final 53 man roster. I wanted to see preseason, make sure nobody got hurt. And the my I guess the main topic this week, I mean NFL season starting, and I'm predicting wins and losses for the season. So I wanted to make sure before I felt super comfortable about it, I knew who was injured, who wasn't. So that's first quarter. So the reason this took 61 took so long is because NFL. So thank the NFL for coach to be out this long. Um, this week I'll also talk about employees and spying software, I guess you could say, or monitoring software, not spying, but monitoring software. Spying software being Ring, or is it called Ring, or yeah, I think it's called Ring, or Amazon's Ring, and they have a TV show called Ring Nation. So I'm just gonna just weird. I'm just gonna touch on that for a quick segment. And last but not least, I'm gonna talk about the Brooklyn Nets. Kyrie and KD are gonna run it back, and I don't think that's totally a bad idea. And that's like the topic of fourth quarter. So been a lot of stuff that's going on, and WNBA, they're in the semi conference. I don't even know. No, this is the no conferences. So it will be the semifinals. Semifinals, and the finals is next. Last four teams in. So that's a sports related. College football starting up. I was gonna do a college football segment, but college football is so just all over the place that I'll maybe narrow it down as the season goes. We'll just see how that goes. But there's a lot of sports talk, a lot of political talk. Um, Sarah Palin lost in Alaska. Is somewhat a big deal. I mean, that was kind of long overdue. It was going to happen eventually. But that was an interesting one that recently happened. There's a number of different things that we talked about, but I'm going to stick to these four topics today. You know how we do. Four topics, four quarters on Play Some D. If you don't mind, hit the sub button, hit that like button, post a comment, turn on post notifications. And as you know, we about to get this baby tipped off. And first quarter, as I mentioned before, we are talking about the NFL. Let me full screen that. The NFL record predictions. So I'm gonna try to be quick as possible. I'm gonna do AFC, NFC, and then I'll run through a couple weeks that shows big matchups. What I did like about this playoff predictor is that you don't get to see, which I like and dislike, because you see the Monday nights, but you don't see the time of the games. And I didn't really factor in, like, I didn't go in depth, like factoring in bye weeks and coaches off bye weeks. I just literally matched, because you don't know who's hurt. You don't know what's happening going into the bye week. I just looked at it as the team's potentials going into the season. This is just what I saw, and as I went through it, I went through it week through week, and as it unfolded for the most part, as I got through to week 17, I was like, okay, this makes sense. I did go back and adjust some things. Like if we notice here, I got the Bengals as the number one seed, going 8-0 at home. They won't go 8-0 at home, but from what I see, as I pick the games, they should go 8-0 at home. So Bengals, Bills, Chiefs, I think those are the three best teams. I think the Chargers could be sneaky good, just depending on how good that defense is. Those I think are the four like most talented teams in my opinion. Chiefs probably being the fourth of that bunch, kind of right there with the Raiders. So Bengals or Bills being number one is totally not surprising. Um, Something's off with the Bills and the Chiefs. I just noticed because they do not have 17 wins. So I missed. Yeah, so I missed the week, which is super interesting that I missed. So it doesn't matter. I figure they're both gonna be wins here. Titans, that Monday night game, they'll win that. So my predictor still the same. It still comes out to be the same. I remember when I originally did it, they came out to be. I think I had the Chiefs originally at like 11-6 or something like that, and the Bills at like 14-3. I think something like that when I originally did it, and I went back. I did readjust. I did this early in the preseason, and just to see how I felt, and then I readjust after I watched some preseason games, see like reports and things. So the top 7 in the playoffs, this seems like I think this makes the most sense if everybody stays healthy. This is where it gets super duper interesting. Texans winning one game is just highly likely to me. I think Davis Mills just isn't that good. If he turns out to be really really good, and I'm wrong, they'll be better. They'll win 5 games, maybe 6. Jaguars have a chance, but I think it's just a little bit just too much moving pieces, and just they've been losing they're just perennial losers right now. So it's just going to take a little time unless, quarterback play is just the biggest thing. If your quarterback doesn't show up, you're going to have a tough time. So if Trevor Lawrence has a big season, they'll be better. But, 8 games, something like that, is probably highly unlikely. Jets, they'll just be bad. I just don't think Zach Wilson is really it. He's hurt. And Joe Flacco might win them some games, but he's just not. He's just not going to get it done. And then this 9-8 pack right here just makes so much sense to me because all these teams are super 9-8 teams to me. Broncos, Steelers are probably gonna be like 8-9, probably maybe 7-10, somewhere around there. Dolphins, just 2. I think 9-8 makes most sense. The Browns just have one of those schedules that it could kind of go either way for them, and just depends how good Jacoby plays. If Jacoby plays bad, they're in trouble. And Deshaun did not look good at all, and he'll be coming back, and he'll just be rusty. They just don't really have a chance unless they just get smoking hot, and the defense is like on next level type of stuff. Patriots is that wild card where they obviously could win 10 games easily and be in contention, but I think this 8 is where it cuts off for the playoffs in the AFC. And this mostly makes sense for me for the most part. Obviously, most teams don't do this well at home or do this bad on the road. But just looking at, like I said, the matchups, that's how it played out. On the NFC side, we got it again where I didn't pick a game for the Rams. It looks like week 3 they'll win to. I'll give this to the Cardinals. I'll swing that one to the Cardinals. But yeah, it just looks like I went through and just missed. I missed a couple teams here, so I probably missed more. Oh yeah, I missed the Saints right here, which I guess it does all matter in terms of Saints and Eagles. I think the Eagles will win that game late in the season. Yeah, I think the Eagles will be more than likely to get that one. Anything else I missed? I think I'm good. So this who makes the playoffs? Green Bay. Green Bay is obviously it's like coach Green Bay that bad. And I don't think that's bad. I just think if Aaron Rodgers doesn't sync with the receivers, I think it'll just be really tough out there for him if he's not slinging it and they're just not running the ball very well. The Niners could sneak in here. I do not believe in Trey Lance, but I do think this is your top. The Eagles and Green Bay records could clearly swap. Green Bay could be 12-5. Eagles could be 10-7. Eagles could be as worse as 7-10. I think the Eagles could be awful. Vikings could win maybe not 13 games, but 11 or 12 should be their number. Cowboys 11, anywhere between 10 and 12 is their number. Obviously, once again, the Rams are not going to win all 9 games at home. At about every Rams game, they're heavy underdogs in their own stadium, or not heavy underdogs, but it's more fans of the other team. Same with the Chargers. So winning all those home games aren't going to happen. So they probably won't end up being 13-4, but 11 games to 13 games probably makes sense. The Bucs are super iffy because this can go either way. Once again, this is based off time, but based off time, as we know, Tom can't count them out. Not going to count them out. 12-5. And this is, I think, the best 7 teams, probably no matter how you scramble it up. Originally, I did have the Panthers being a much, much better, But unless McCaffrey goes crazy and Baker, I never believed in Baker. There's no point for me to now. So this was the biggest team that I did change a lot. So I think in my first early preseason predictions, I think I had them like 10-7 or something like that, 11-6. I think at one point where I was changing some things around. So I did look at them extra hard. It's the only team I looked at extra hard because it's like I just don't think it's no way to win 11 games, and I don't know what I was picking or how I was picking it. Then the Seahawks have the worst quarterbacks in the league. They'll be really, really bad. Marcus Mariota Lions are, I think, the biggest gap. The Lions could be as worse. I think this is the worst they can do. 3 games all the way up to maybe 7 wins, possibly 8. So I think they have the biggest gap of any team in the NFL. And then the Bears, Justin Fields, the Giants, nah. Carson Wentz, nah. So then it's like Trey Lance, does Winston, does he pull some magic out the hat? But overall, these are the teams that should keep it in there. I said the Eagles probably biggest wild card because Jalen Hurts plays like he's not really a quarterback, but he's a playmaker. So if he, has those cold days or hot days, it could go either way. And that's how it swings. So I'll do the playoff predictor when we get to the playoffs, but this is, it'd be cool to look back and see how close I am to matching these records. And obviously there'll be injuries and things like that I'll revisit this later on. Real quick, I did just want to go through some of these matchups here. Obviously, week 1 is that Rams and Bills game. I think this kicks off, these 13-4 records. I do think the Rams are going to get it. Most people just think the Bills are going to come out and be super duper gangbusters. I can't see everything over there, huh? Let me see. Yeah, I can't see everything over there. The NFC. Let me zoom out some more here. So yes, I can see all that over there, which I really don't think I need, but I'm just gonna go through a couple weeks here, really, really quick. Week two never really. I think this Monday night game will be big. This will be an important Monday night game because if the Niners do get that game, that'll help them a lot. This will be another big Monday night game. They did a good job with the Monday night games. I think I saw a lot that seemed like they'll really, really matter, be really captivating to watch on TV. As we get down the stretch, this will be a fun one. This is one of the ones I wanted to make sure I did touch on. This one will be a big one. That'll be, like I said, predicting a 1 and 2. So I think that'll be a big game. That's week 9. Then we get to see I think 12 is when Deshaun Watson comes back. Browns, yeah, this will be they'll lose that game. I mean, I don't know unless Tom's out, they kind of lose that game. So I don't know how that works out. Oh, other big games. This one will be big. I believe this Dolphins and Chargers. It'll say a lot about their records. And then these games, like Dallas at week 14 needs to beat the Texans. Eagles need to beat the Giants. Vikings have to beat the Lions in these. These are important games that dictate seeding. And those, this is where it gets kind of cool and fun to watch. This will be Christmas Day games. This will be a fun week, 17, 18. So yeah. That's my my quick predictions. I kind of ran through it quickly. I could have did a whole breakdown, and I love it. It's so fascinating, so cool. So it'll be fun to revisit that and check out, see how much how far off I am, how close I am, and go from there. To keep us 61 rolling along real quick, real smoothly into second quarter. Second quarter is just a slight pet peeve of mine is about employers using monitoring work productivity software, and it ranges from all different kinds of softwares. From this article states that what is this? United Health, they use idle time counter that lets keyboards idle and stuff like that, and that affects bonuses and things like that. I know of tons of different ones, from keyboard strokes to up in your face, where it actually tells you it monitors you like right on your screen to just hidden in the background and know like what sites you visit and how much data is being brought in and out of a PC. And I just think that's like the super stone age to me, in my opinion. I guess in big uh, corporations, you might need something just to manage, just to watch. But I think sucking a life dry to people making sure they get every single dollar you pay them, I think that's just irrelevant nowadays. I think you pay somebody to do a job, and whether they get it done in an hour or if they get it done in 10, however long it takes them, as long as it fits the parameters of your company, I just don't think it matters. If you pay somebody for 8, they get it done in an hour, you just pay them. You pay them to do the job. They don't need to be sweeping the floor and doing necessary stuff or whatever just to look busy, typing on their computer, find something for them to do. I never thought that was any type of way to work. And I think overall that's what got people into the place they are now with work burnout and wanting to quit and not feeling value because there are instances where people work from home and they do 2 jobs or whatever they call it, smurfing, or it's not called smurfing, but whatever it's called. But who cares? I don't really care. I mean, that should be allowed to happen. If you can farm while you're day trading or farm while you're developing code. If you can do that, power to you. You should be you should be admired or allowed to do stuff like that. So monitoring what people do and how they work is weird to me. But that's kind of my biggest gripe, and I really could stop right there. That's really second quarter in a nutshell, is that I just think until somebody gives you a reason, you shouldn't really be putting anything on people's computers. Slacking workers, and I think more of people like HR, like people department, like liaisons to make sure people have everything they need to get their job done. People that check in with people and talk to them and make sure everything's kind of copacetic. I think people feel more engaged that way and want to do their job and get it done. We're more of a check-in type of thing, less than a send you to the corner with tasks and make sure you get them all done. Just an unhealthy work environment, and I don't think it'll last long. And the market changes, and obviously people need jobs. So when the market's low and there aren't a lot of jobs, employees have to leverage when there are a lot of jobs, and people keep switching. Employees got leverage, so it does go back and forth, supply and demand type of deal. But this specific thing, makes people feel like they aren't trusted. The job doesn't care about them. The list goes on. It's a work, mental state, and jobs like that, a lot of people just don't want to work for or deal with. So this was a marketplace article from just a few days ago. I actually listened to this. I forgot it was a lady speaking about it, so I actually listened to it. The article you can find on marketplace.org, where it talks about, the various companies, the various, our systems developed in-house. Some people do. It just depends. You got to develop, the staff to do it. But there's softwares everywhere that people have developed, people are making and distributing that work to whatever standard any company needs or wants. So I don't know. There's certain stuff that I always say, if I could talk about it, I'll keep talking about it. So every time a story comes up and it fits, I feel like talking about it, I'm going to plug it in, because I guess if you just say it enough times, maybe eventually, you speak it into existence. But monitoring software should go to like people that are like on the last leg, if they're not getting the job done, you don't want to fire them or whatever, and you kind of tell them like, look, we'll be watching you, and they'll go from there, and they decide to quit. You've hired somebody else, and you just sneakily and unsneakingly watching somebody in any way, shape, or form is just, I don't know. It's not a way to do things, especially in a business sense where you want to empower your employees. Halftime, I kind of want to started talking about the stuff that go on that I just don't talk about here, but just the privacy and watching you and just goes right into the third quarter, which is Ring Nation. Amazon's privacy advocates urge cancellation of Amazon's nightmares. Ring Nation. It's gonna be a new TV show that basically captures people's rings of people doing funny stuff. It's hosted by Wanda Sykes. Very surprising she's the one hosting this, that she seems like the one person that would have realized, like, wait, this is weird. I could not find information where, I mean, obviously it's Amazon's product. I did talk about a couple of weeks ago about how they are giving information over to the police, if, kind of piggybacking on that, but they do have essentially the rights to all the information that they capture and store on the Ring devices. And I guess if it's funny, it falls in the line of like funniest home videos type of thing, but it's really not. So that's what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to be like a family friendly. It sounds like family friendly than a thinly veiled surveillance state infomercial attempting to push more monitoring products. That doesn't bother me if they are trying to market their products. I mean, they're doing this. I believe this will be on. Actually, I don't know what station. I'd imagine it's coming. Yeah, it's got to be coming on Amazon. MGM Studios owned by Amazon. Yeah, it's got to be an Amazon show. So I don't mind them advertising their products on Amazon, but this one, yes, outdoor facing. It's not inside, and you're capturing delivery people and a number of different things. And what I was going to say is I haven't found anything that says that they've gotten in touch with people and make sure it's clear. Maybe they are, maybe they're not. I haven't found that yet. But anyway, just to even want that information, not to delete it, to store it, to have it, is just gross. It's just stupid. Like if a owner of the Ring wants to record their house vicinity, that's fine. Amazon should not be housing that data. Obviously, I understand data is a big thing. It's important. They'll have it. It puts them in positions of power, get all that stuff. But that's just so. I just wish we got out of that world of living. I really, really do. Amazon's big enough. They don't need to take over the world. Nobody needs to take over the world. We need to share the world, and just being able to get to a point where you can just do whatever you want. It's definitely annoying, very annoying to me. I don't know if it'll make it to see the light of day. I think it's scheduled to. I thought I had let me see. I thought it said like September 30th or something. It was set the premiere, and I really don't know if it'll make it. And regardless of the manner, if they think it's chill, and we'll launch September 26th. So I was close, but if they think it's chill, and they think people will understand, or they will have like a caption saying that audiences were whatever were notified, or these all were cleared. If it doesn't come out as creepy and weird, they'll be fine. But if it comes out as it looks and sounds so far, it might make one episode and people are gonna be like, "What?" I mean, yeah. Like I said, I'm surprised. Wanda Sykes seems like she's on it, so maybe it's not as bad as it sounds. But Amazon shouldn't have this information. There should be some sent in from people at home, Rings that want to show their funny clips, just like a funny home videos coming from Ring. It would have been a nice ring to it, but when I first heard it, I was just like, I'll never have a Ring, never wanted one, and I always knew this was what Amazon would do with it, or any company, Nest, all of them. I don't need anything monitoring, surveilling me that's smart. I want it to be dumb. As I always said, I like dumb stuff. I don't like smart stuff. So, because I'm smart, and I can tell it what and how and when I wanted to do stuff. So that's third quarter. Now for fourth quarter, we got a big three in Brooklyn headed into the season. I would say pretty motivated. Kevin Durant decides to come back. Kyrie's coming back. Ben Simmons will be back. They need a couple more pieces. Center, point guard, backup point guard, actually a point guard, a real point guard. Kyrie's not a point guard. But they need somebody to. I mean, Kyrie's he's a playmaker, so he gets the job done. But they do need somebody in those pivotal moments that could manage the game, get the ball to the right person. Maybe it'll be Ben Simmons. I think he's been out for too long, and I don't know if that'll be his role he might work, but just a backup point guard for even when Ben's out the game to spell him. Because Kyrie does need to be off the ball. He's a slasher. He shoots. He's a shot maker. So he does. He does that at his best. He's not really a facilitator. So center, big man, which they don't totally need because if Ben's healthy and Kevin Durant's healthy, they'll probably be fine in that manner. They're both big dudes that can guard just about everybody in the league nowadays. They can alternate. They can switch off, and that'll make them more potent if Ben Simmons is the center point, the point center. That'll make them more potent. They'll just have four shooters out there with Ben, which I think could really, really work. My biggest thing though is just, as I mentioned before, is that with Adam Silver and people wanting trades, is that if I think it's important to like who you work with, and if these guys don't like each other, it's going to trickle over. I mean, the biggest issue was Kevin Durant's contract. He still wants to be gone. I'm almost positive, but he probably has to just work through at least one more season, I'd imagine, and just see how it goes. But from Steve Nash to Sean Marks, something's not right. I don't know if the Kyrie story is true at all. I don't know if anybody signed off on him, whatever he told Steve Nash at a party. But if they really don't get along, they don't like each other, respect each other, it won't work. They'll manage the regular season, but when it gets to the playoffs, they just all got to be clicking on all cylinders. It's just too hard. The East is too good. But I do think it does put them right at the top. I just did my top 10 NBA players right now, and I had Kevin Durant number 2. So just him alone, just like LeBron, you get him in the playoffs and you get him in a series, and you got a shot. I mean, they did get swept, but they were totally overpowered. Next year, they may not be as overpowered to match up with the Boston scene. They may be fresher. Kyrie may be more in sync. We'll see, but this is the best bet for KD, I think, because anywhere he wanted to go, he personally would have stripped everything out of that team where he would have went, and it would have been probably more difficult than here in Brooklyn. Probably shouldn't have signed a deal. Definitely shouldn't have. He should have just kept doing that. But he got hurt, and he wanted to secure his cash, which I totally understand. But he probably should have just did the 1-and-1s, or however they still do those 2-and-1s options. Probably been better for him in his mental state. He seems to care about that. He talks to people on Twitter and all that good stuff. So overall, though, I think it was the smartest move. If you're running it back and it's just crumbling during the season, it's a little bit easier. If the season's falling apart, to request a trade, to try to get a trade, people will be more willing to get over the top for that season and pay him if Brooklyn don't want to pay him anymore. This is a contract year for Kyrie, so he's going to be ready to go. Super smart for them not to trade him for just like Russell Westbrook and a pick or something like that, whatever it was, because Kyrie's going to be there out there fighting. He wants to earn a contract, so it's important for him. And then Ben Simmons, I don't think Ben Simmons has or feels like he has anything to prove. I think he just type of dude just want to get out there and hoop. Whatever happens type of thing. I don't think he really cares at all. But his skill set helps them a lot on a defensive end mostly, and just guarding bigger players. That's pretty much where they need him at, and he'll be able to facilitate, make some passes, make some plays. So that's, the Brooklyn Nets in a nutshell. It just, in reality, they should have. I would have traded Kevin Durant. You don't want to be here. We'll work something out. We'll figure it out. But I guess when you got a player that good and people are stubborn with egos, at some point it's like, somebody's gonna get their way. And this time, Nets just basically said, nah, we're not doing that, and they got their way. That's rare in the NBA where players have so much power that the Nets won this one. Kind of good, kind of good, kind of whatever, All right, so thanks for watching. This was a 61. 61 was two just pet peeves of mine, I guess you could say, in terms of like privacy and like Ring Nation just seems weird. That TV show. I'll watch it just to see. I want to see because I haven't found any information about how those videos are released. So I'll be interested in that. And companies monitoring their employees. I think it causes low morale for people and nervousness and anxiety and just silly stuff. With good people do their job, you should just let them do their job. Brooklyn Nets will be they'll be right back in the thick of things. Guys stayed. If it falls apart, they're not sinking. Then work on trades at the trade deadline or around the middle of the season. People will be more, we'll see where everything's at. People will be more willing to trade and assets and things. And then the NFL season, man, is cracking off. I held off on this particular episode specifically for the NFL, and that's what the NFL does. They make you, I could have came on here and rambled about something else, but I don't know when I'm going to be able to do 62, so I want to make sure I got be super busy out of town and stuff. So I'll be, I may not get one in before the NFL season starts. I want to make sure I got this in before the NFL season starts. I feel very confident about most of the records I picked. Obviously, I won't be 100% right, but I do think the reasoning behind some of them, if I would have did a whole episode about it, that I would actually went through every single game I picked and why or close to why, and I probably could have looked more into like time of days matter. I think there'll be London games, which those games aren't home or away, and I didn't look at any of that stuff. I just mano a mano matchup, who's home, who's away, and picked accordingly who has the better team. So I'll be super, super intrigued at week 18 when I come back and revisit that and get to doing the playoff predictions. So once again, thanks for watching. That was 61. Mind the like button, hit that sub button, drop a comment, let me know which team gonna be number one in the NFC and the AFC, all that goodies. And if you're happy that maybe not anybody's happy that Kevin Durant's back, but happy Kevin Durant's back. You like the big 3 or the big 2.5 in Brooklyn? No, just playing. Ben is, I don't know what Ben is, so we'll see. We'll see. But as we always do, keep it light, keep it tight, stay safe, be great. And until the next one, Holla.